The message arrived at 60:12 on a Thursday morning. No hello, no how are you? No warning. Just a screenshot of a bank account number, followed by 6 words from my older sister Vanessa. Wire the 7th 200 before noon. I stared at my phone while the coffee machine hissed behind me. For a few seconds, I honestly thought she had sent the message to the wrong person. $7,200 was not grocery money. It was not an emergency hospital bill. It was not a payment to stop the bank from taking her house. Then another message appeared. Lila's Sweet 16 deposit is due today. Don't embarrass her. That was Vanessa. She could turn a demand into an accusation before I had even answered. I set my phone on the counter and looked out the kitchen window of my small house in Columbus, Ohio. Rain was running down the glass. My neighbor was dragging 2 trash cans to the curb. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked at a delivery truck. Everything looked normal, but something tired inside me finally opened its eyes. For years, Vanessa had treated my bank account like a family emergency fund. The emergencies were always hers. A missed mortgage payment, a broken air conditioner, a school trip for Leela, a new laptop because the old one was damaging her daughter's confidence. A family vacation that had somehow become my responsibility because Vanessa had already promised it. And every time I hesitated, she used the same weapon, family. You don't have children, Claire. You don't understand. You make more than I do. You can't take money with you. Lila looks up to you. But the truth was simpler. Vanessa did not want my help. She wanted access. I was 41 years old, divorced, and the finance director for a medical equipment company. My phone rang. Vanessa. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Good morning, I said. Did you see my message? Her voice was sharp and breathless, as if I were already late for a meeting she had scheduled inside my wallet. I saw it. Then why haven't you responded? Because you told me to wire you $7,200 without explaining anything. I explained it. It's for Leela's party. What kind of party costs $7,200 as a deposit? Vanessa sighed dramatically. It's not just a party, it's her sweet 16. She only gets one. What is the total cost? A pause. Why does that matter? It matters because you are asking me to pay part of it. $7,200 is your part. My part. I almost laughed. How much is the whole party, Vanessa? Another pause. Longer this time. $28,000. I thought I had misheard her. $28,000. Don't say it like that. How else should I say it? She has been through a lot. Leela was a healthy 15-year-old who attended a private school, had a new iPhone, took dance lessons, and had recently posted photographs from a spring break trip to Miami. What exactly has she been through? Vanessa lowered her voice. Her father leaving. There it was. The one subject I was never allowed to question. Vanessa's husband, Derek, had disappeared from their life 11 months earlier. At least that was the story. Vanessa said he had drained their savings, abandoned them, and run away with another woman. She spoke about him as if he had died. Except dead men could not be blamed for every unpaid bill. I had believed her. I had helped with the mortgage for 3 months. I had covered Leela's school tuition when Vanessa said the account was empty. I had paid for a lawyer to protect the house. Although I never saw a bill from the lawyer. Her father leaving does not require a $28,000 birthday party. I said. You're unbelievable. No. I am asking a reasonable question. You promised you would always be there for her. I am there for her. Then prove it. That sentence sat between us. Prove it. Vanessa had turned love into a receipt. Send me the contract, the venue information, and the full budget. Why? Because I am not wiring money based on a text message. Her tone changed immediately. The anger softened into something almost sweet. Claire, I'm under a lot of pressure. The venue gave us a special rate, but the deposit has to be paid by noon. If we lose the date, Leela will be devastated. Send me the documents. The event planner has them. Then ask her to email them. You're making this difficult on purpose. I am making it transparent. She went silent. Then she said, Mom already contributed. That surprised me. Our mother lived on Social Security and a small pension. How much? $5,000. My grip tightened around the phone. Where did she get $5,000? That is none of your business. It becomes my business when you are asking me for another $7,200. Vanessa exhaled hard. Just send the money, Claire. No. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear the coffee dripping behind me. What did you say? She asked. I said no, not until I see the contract. Her voice became cold. If Leela's birthday is ruined, I will make sure she knows exactly why. Then she hung up. I stood alone in my kitchen, looking at my reflection in the dark window. For years, that threat would have worked. I would have opened my banking app. I would have sent the money. I would have told myself I was helping my niece. But that morning something felt wrong, not just expensive, wrong. At 7:03 my mother called. She sounded nervous. "Claire, honey. Vanessa said there is a problem with the party. Did you give her $5,000? A pause. "Well, Mom. She said she would pay it back." "Where did you get it?" "I took it from the emergency account." My mother's emergency account contained less than $12,000. It was supposed to cover medical costs, home repairs, and anything her fixed income could not handle. "You gave almost half your emergency savings to a birthday party." She said Lila needed something beautiful after everything with Derek. I closed my eyes. "Did you see a contract?" "No." "A budget?" "No." "Did she tell you the party costs $28,000? My mother went quiet. "No." That was the moment my concern became suspicion. Vanessa had asked our retired mother for $5,000 without telling her the total cost. She had demanded $7,200 from me and refused to provide documents. She claimed a venue deposit was due within hours, but she had not mentioned the party before that morning. And Vanessa planned everything months in advance. She did not forget details. She hid them. I ended the call with my mother and opened the family group chat. I searched for every message about Leela's birthday. There were photographs of dresses, a message about gold decorations, a picture of a 3-tier cake. Nothing about a venue. Nothing about a $28,000 party. Then I remembered something. 2 weeks earlier, Leela had sent me a link to a vintage camera. She loved photography, and she had been saving for it. When I asked about her birthday plans, she said, "Mom says we might just do dinner this year." Just dinner. I opened my contacts and found Derek's number. I had not spoken to him since he left. Vanessa had told the whole family not to contact him because he was dangerous and manipulative. I stared at his name for nearly a minute. Then I made the call. He answered on the 4th ring. "Hello." His voice sounded cautious. "Derek, it's Claire." Silence. Then he said, "Is Leela okay?" The fear in his voice was immediate and real. "As far as I know, Vanessa says she is planning a $28,000 Sweet 16. Another silence. This one felt different. Finally, Derek said, "Claire, Leela's birthday was cancelled 3 months ago." I sat down. "What do you mean cancelled?" "I paid the venue deposit in April. Vanessa cancelled the event in May and received most of the money back." "How much did you pay?" $7,200. The exact amount Vanessa had demanded. Derek continued. "She told me Leela did not want a big party anymore. I asked for proof of the refund, but Vanessa stopped answering. Why didn't you contact us?" He laughed once, without humor. "I tried. Your sister told everyone I abandoned them. She blocked my number on Leela's phone. She filed for a temporary protective order using claims that were dismissed 2 weeks later. By then, nobody in your family would speak to me." My mouth went dry. "Did you leave her for another woman?" "No." "Did you empty the savings account?" "No." "Vanessa did." I did not answer. Derek spoke slowly. "Claire, I left the house because I discovered she had opened credit cards in my name, her mother's name, and possibly yours." "What did you just say?" "I have copies of some of the applications." I didn't know how deep it went until the collection letters started arriving. I have been working with an attorney and a fraud investigator. My first instinct was denial. Vanessa was selfish, demanding, manipulative. But fraud, identity theft, that belonged to a different category of person. Then I remembered the $5,000 from my mother. The missing contracts. The exact deposit amount. "Send me everything," I said. "Are you sure?" "No," I answered. "But send it anyway." 10 minutes later, my email inbox filled with documents, credit card statements, loan applications, screenshots, a cancelled venue agreement, and one scanned page that made my hands go cold. It was an application for a personal line of credit for $35,000. The applicant's name was mine, Claire Morgan. The social security number was mine. The employment information was mine. But the email address belonged to Vanessa. And the signature at the bottom looked almost exactly like mine. Almost. I called in sick to work for the first time in 6 years. Then I locked my front door, closed the blinds, and spread every document across my dining room table. At first, I kept trying to find an innocent explanation. Maybe Vanessa had started an application for me because she thought I would help. Maybe the lender had entered the wrong email. Maybe the signature only looked like mine because sisters sometimes wrote alike. But innocent explanations do not survive careful reading. The application had been submitted 4 months earlier. It listed my annual salary within $500 of the correct number. It included the remaining balance on my mortgage. It named my employer, my job title, and even the approximate value of my retirement account. Only 3 people knew all of that. Me, my accountant, and my mother. My mother had never used online banking without help. Vanessa had helped her. I pulled my credit report. My stomach dropped. There were 2 inquiries I did not recognize, one from a digital lender, one from a regional credit union. Then I found an account with a balance of 18,6040, opened in my name. Mailing address Vanessa's house. I stood so quickly my chair fell backward. For a moment, I could not breathe. I had spent years rebuilding my finances after my divorce. I checked my bank statements every week. I froze my credit whenever I was not applying for anything. But 6 months earlier, I had temporarily lifted the freeze to refinance my mortgage. Vanessa knew because I had mentioned the lower rate at Thanksgiving. She had used the window. I called the lender. After 40 minutes of transfers, identity verification, and confusion, a fraud representative confirmed the account existed. The loan had been opened online. The funds had been deposited into an account at another bank. The representative could not tell me whose account, but she could send a fraud packet. I filed a dispute. Then I called the credit bureaus and froze everything. At 9:18, Vanessa texted again, 3 hours left. I looked at the message and felt something inside me change. Until that moment, part of me still wanted to confront her privately. I wanted to demand an explanation, force her to apologize, and protect our mother and Leela from the damage. But Vanessa was not confused. She was not desperate. She was counting down to another theft. I did not reply. Instead, I called Derek's attorney. Her name was Monica Patel. She spoke carefully at first, because I was Vanessa's sister, and she did not know whose side I was on. I told her about the loan. Her tone changed. Do not confront Vanessa yet, she said. Preserve every message. Download your credit report. Photograph the documents. File an identity theft report with the Federal Trade Commission and a police report. Do you believe she did this? I believe the evidence should be investigated. Has she done it to anyone else? Monica paused. Derek believes so. Ooh, your mother? The room tilted. I called Mom immediately. Do you have your bank statements? Somewhere. Why? I need you to find them. Claire, you're frightening me. I know. Please find them. I drove to her house 15 minutes away. She was waiting at the door in slippers and a blue robe, holding a folder against her chest. My mother looked smaller than usual. We sat at her kitchen table, the same table where Vanessa and I had done homework as children. The same table where our father had taught us to play cards. He had been gone for 7 years, but his chair was still at the end. I sorted through 6 months of statements. At first, everything looked ordinary. Pension deposit, electric bill, grocery store, pharmacy. Then I saw recurring transfers of $850 to an account labeled VM Consulting. Mom, what is VM Consulting? She frowned. I don't know. The transfers had occurred every month for 9 months, total $760.50. There was also a cash withdrawal of $4,000 3 months earlier. Did you withdraw $4,000 in April? No. Did Vanessa? My mother's face changed. She sometimes gets cash for me. Did you ask her to take out $4,000? No? Her hands began to shake. I reached across the table. Mom, has Vanessa been managing your online account? She said it was safer. Does she know your password? My mother looked toward the window. Yes. I logged in and changed the password. Then I opened the profile settings. The recovery email had been changed. It was Vanessa's. The phone number was also hers. My mother covered her mouth. She said she was helping me. I wanted to tell her it was not her fault. But she was already crying. I gave her everything after Derek left, she whispered. I believed everything she said. So did I. We sat there for a long moment, both of us realizing the same thing. Vanessa had not only stolen money, she had arranged the family so no one would compare stories. She told Mom I was too busy. She told me Mom had volunteered to help. She told everyone Derek was dangerous. She told Leela her father did not care. Isolation was the foundation of her perfect lie. At 10:04, my phone rang. Vanessa. I answered on speaker. Where is the transfer? She demanded. I am working on it. My mother looked at me. Vanessa relaxed slightly. Good, send me the confirmation screenshot. I need the venue's bank information. I already sent the account. You sent an account number. What is the venue's name? A pause. The Grand Bell. I searched it on my mother's laptop. There was no venue by that name in Columbus. What is the address? Why are you interrogating me? Accounting reasons. You're not my accountant. No. But I am the person you want to send $7,200. She was quiet for 2 seconds. Then she said, It's through the event planner. Her company receives the deposit. What is her name? Danielle. Last name? Claire. Stop. My mother's eyes widened. I continued calmly. Send the contract. Vanessa. Her voice dropped. You have always been jealous of me. I almost admired how quickly she changed direction. Jealous of what? My family. My daughter. The fact that I built a life while you hide inside your spreadsheets. The words were designed to hurt. They did not anymore. Send the contract, I repeated. She hung up. At 17, Leela texted me. Aunt Claire, Mom says you are canceling my birthday because you hate her. Is that true? I stared at the message. There it was. The human shield. Vanessa had used her own daughter to pressure me. I typed, deleted, and typed again. I love you. I am not canceling anything. I need to understand what has been planned. Can you call me privately? 3 minutes later, Leela called from the school bathroom. She was whispering. Mom said you promised to pay for everything. I never promised that. She said Dad took all our money. Lila, when was the last time you spoke to your father? Christmas. It was September. Do you want a $28,000 party? What? Your mother told me the party costs $28,000. Leela went silent. Then she said, There is no party. I closed my eyes. What do you mean? I told Mom I didn't want one after Dad left. I asked for a small dinner and a camera. She said we couldn't afford anything. My mother began crying again. Did your mother tell you there was a venue? No. Did she ask you to message me? She said you refused to help, and that I should know what kind of person you are. I kept my voice steady. Listen to me. None of this is your fault. Do not confront your mother. After school, go to your friend Maya's house. I will pick you up there. Why? Because I need to show you something, and I want you somewhere safe. She started to ask another question, but the bathroom door opened. I have to go, she whispered. The call ended. At 10:30, I had 90 minutes before Vanessa's imaginary deadline. I made the one call that changed everything. Not to the police. Not yet. I called the bank receiving the wire. I had the routing number from Vanessa's screenshot. Because I worked in finance, I knew the number could identify the institution. The account was at Franklin State Credit Union. I asked for the fraud department. I explained that I had been instructed to wire money to an account that might be connected to identity theft. I provided the account number, the loan information, and the police report number I had just received online. The fraud officer could not reveal the account holder. But she could flag the account. She could also preserve records, and because the account had recently received funds from a loan opened in my name, she could freeze outgoing transfers while they investigated. At 11:06, Vanessa called. She was screaming before I said hello. What did you do? I looked at my mother. Mom stared at the floor. What happened? I asked. My account is locked. That sounds serious. Do not play games with me, Claire. I called the bank. You had no right. I had every right. $18,640 of my right. Silence. For the first time in my life, Vanessa had no answer. Then she whispered, You don't understand. I understand that a loan was opened in my name and sent to an account connected to you. You are trying to destroy me. No, I am trying to stop you. I can explain. Good. Explain it to the fraud investigator. Her breathing changed. Claire, think about Lila. I am. If you report this, she loses everything. You already took everything from her. Her father, her birthday, her trust. She is my daughter. And that is why what you did is worse. Vanessa began crying, real tears or practiced ones, I could not tell. I was going to pay it back. With what? The business. What business? VM Consulting. I looked at the bank statement on my mother's table. The monthly transfers, the fake company. My voice became very quiet. You mean the business Mom has been funding without knowing? Vanessa stopped crying. That silence told me more than a confession. Then she said, You went through Mom's account. I am sitting beside her. My mother looked up. Her face was pale, but her voice was clear. Vanessa, she said, where is my money? The call ended. By noon, Vanessa's lie was no longer a private family problem. It was a financial crime investigation. Monica helped us contact a detective who specialized in identity theft. We handed over the loan documents, bank statements, messages, and account information. Derek provided his credit reports and copies of the false applications opened in his name. My mother filed her own report. The detective warned us not to expect instant justice. Financial cases move slowly, he said. Records have to be requested, signatures compared, device information traced. But Vanessa moved quickly. At 12:24 she arrived at my mother's house. She pounded on the door so hard the picture frames shook. Open the door. My mother flinched. I told her to stay in the kitchen and called the police. Vanessa kept shouting, "Claire, you are insane! You are turning everyone against me!" I stood behind the locked door. "No, Vanessa. I am letting everyone compare notes." She kicked the bottom of the door. "You always wanted this." "Wanted what? To take my life?" I almost opened the door then. Not because I was afraid, because I wanted to look her in the face and ask how she could still believe she was the victim. Instead, I said, "Go home. I need to talk to Mom." "She does not want to talk to you. That is not her decision. You are controlling her." My mother appeared behind me. She was still wearing her robe, but she stood straighter now. "It is my decision," she called. The pounding stopped. "Mom," Vanessa said, her voice suddenly soft, "please." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "You took money from me. I borrowed it. You changed my bank information. To protect you. You lied about Claire. You lied about Derek. You lied about Leela. I was under pressure. Everyone is under pressure." My mother said, "Most people do not steal from their family. Dad would have understood." My mother stepped closer to the door. "Your father would be ashamed." Vanessa left before the police arrived. That afternoon, Derek picked up Leela from Maya's house. It was the first time they had seen each other in 9 months. I watched from my car across the street. Leela stood on the sidewalk with her backpack hanging from one shoulder. Derek got out of his truck but did not walk toward her. He waited, giving her the choice. For a moment, she did not move. Then she ran. He caught her with both arms, and they both broke down. I looked away. Some moments are too private even when they happen in public. Later, we met at Monica's office. Derek showed Leela every message he had sent, every return package, every birthday card marked undeliverable. Vanessa had told him Leela refused contact. She had told Leela he had forgotten her. Leela read the messages with tears running down her face. "I hated you," she whispered. Derek nodded. "I know. I thought you left me. I left the house because your mother threatened to accuse me of hurting her if I went to the police. I should have found another way. I should have fought harder." "You did fight. Not enough." He did not insult Vanessa. He did not ask Leela to choose sides. He only told the truth. That made the truth stronger. Over the next 2 weeks, the investigation uncovered more. Vanessa had opened 4 credit cards in Derek's name, 1 loan in mine, a store account in my mother's name. She had created VM Consulting as a shell company and used it to move money between accounts. She had forged invoices for event planning services. She had cancelled Leela's original party and transferred the refund into the credit union account. The $7,200 she demanded from me was not for a new deposit. It was an attempt to replace the money she had already spent before Derek's attorney forced her to provide proof. And what had she spent it on? Not groceries. Not the mortgage. Not medical bills, luxury handbags, a leased Mercedes, weekend trips, online gambling, and nearly $12,000 paid to a man named Ryan Bell. Ryan was not an event planner. He was Vanessa's boyfriend. He had been living in a downtown apartment she secretly paid for. The same sister who told us Derek left for another woman had been having an affair for almost 2 years. When Derek discovered the credit cards, Vanessa moved money, changed passwords, and created a story before he could tell anyone. She made him the villain first. It almost worked. Then came Lila's birthday. 3 days before she turned 16, Vanessa sent a message to the family group chat. "I know everyone has heard Claire's version. I made financial mistakes while trying to survive as a single mother. Claire is using her money and influence to punish me. I hope one day the truth comes out." The old me would have responded with a long explanation. I would have defended myself. I would have listed evidence. Instead, I sent one sentence. "The truth is already in the bank records." Then I left the chat. Vanessa's next move was predictable. She organized a family dinner at our Aunt Susan's house. She said she wanted peace before Leela's birthday. She invited cousins, uncles, and anyone who might pressure us to forgive her. She did not invite Derek. She did not invite me. But Aunt Susan called me. "I think you should come," she said. "Does Vanessa know you called?" "No." "Why do you want me there?" "Because she is telling everyone you stole her accounts and kidnapped Lila." I laughed for the first time in days. "Fine. I'll come." The dinner was on Sunday. I arrived at 6 with my mother, Derek, Leela, and Monica. Vanessa was standing beside the dining room table in a white sweater, looking tired but carefully composed. Around her sat 12 relatives who had heard only fragments. Ryan was not there. Vanessa stared at Monica. Why is she here? To make sure nobody misunderstands what is said. I answered. This is a family matter. No, Derek said. It stopped being a family matter when you used our identities. Vanessa looked at Leela. You are staying with him. Leela's hand tightened around her father's. I am staying where people tell me the truth. The room went still. Vanessa's face broke for half a second, then she recovered. I did everything for you. No, Leela said. You used me to get money. You are a child, you do not understand. I understand there was no party. Vanessa turned to the room. See what Claire has done. She poisoned my own daughter against me. That was when I placed a folder on the table. Inside were copies of the loan application, Mom's statements, the cancelled venue contract, and the transfers to Ryan. I passed them around. Nobody spoke while they read. Uncle James removed his glasses and cleaned them twice. Aunt Susan covered her mouth. My cousin Aaron looked from the documents to Vanessa. You told me Derek left you with nothing. Aaron said. He did. The venue refund went into your account. I needed it for expenses. You told Mom the party was still happening. I said. Vanessa pointed at me. You were never supposed to see those records. There it was. Not. The records are false. Not. I did not do it. You were never supposed to see them. Monica spoke for the first time. That statement may be relevant later. Vanessa's face went white. She looked around the table, searching for an ally. Mom. My mother did not move. Please, Vanessa whispered. Mom's voice trembled. I will always love you. But I will not lie for you. You are choosing Claire. I am choosing the truth. Vanessa turned to Leela. You will come home with me. No, Leela said. I am your mother, and Dad is my father. You kept him from me. He abandoned us. Derek took a step forward. Monica raised one hand, and he stopped. Leela reached into her backpack and removed a small envelope. I wrote you something, she said. For one hopeful second, Vanessa's face softened. Leela placed the envelope on the table. It says I want you to get help. It says I will talk to you with a counselor present. And it says I do not want you contacting me through other people. Vanessa stared at the envelope. Then she swept the folder off the table. Papers flew across the room. You all think you are better than me. No one answered. She grabbed her purse and left. The front door slammed. A few seconds later, Aunt Susan began picking up the papers. One by one, the rest of us helped. That image stayed with me. For years, Vanessa had thrown chaos into our family. That night, we stopped arguing about who caused it. We simply gathered the evidence. The charges came 4 months later. Identity theft, forgery, wire fraud, theft from an elderly person, unauthorized use of financial accounts. Vanessa was arrested at her house on a Tuesday morning. I did not go there. I did not watch. I learned about it from the detective, then turned off my phone and went to work. Vanessa's Mercedes was repossessed. Ryan disappeared as soon as the money stopped. VM Consulting was closed. The bank returned most of my mother's stolen funds after the investigation confirmed fraud. The loan in my name was removed from my credit report. Derek spent months repairing his credit and fighting for a formal custody arrangement. Vanessa accepted a plea agreement. She received a prison sentence, followed by supervised release, mandatory counseling, and restitution. Because she had stolen from our mother and used multiple identities, the judge refused her attorney's request for probation only. At sentencing, Vanessa was allowed to speak. She stood in front of the judge wearing a navy suit and no jewelry. For the first time in my life, she looked ordinary, not powerful, not dramatic, just tired. I made terrible choices, she said. I was afraid of losing the life I built. The judge looked at her. You did not steal to preserve food or shelter. You stole to preserve an image. Vanessa lowered her head. Then she turned toward us. Mom sat beside me. Derek and Leela sat behind us. I am sorry, Vanessa said, her eyes found mine. I am sorry, Claire. I had imagined that moment many times. In some versions, I stood up and told the courtroom everything she had done. In others, I refused to look at her. But when the moment came, I did neither. I simply nodded. An apology is not a key. It does not automatically reopen every door. After the hearing, Leela asked to speak to her mother privately with a counselor present. Derek agreed. I waited in the courthouse lobby with Mom. 20 minutes later, Leela came out crying. I stood, but she shook her head. I'm okay, she said. I just needed to tell her I love her, but I cannot save her. That sentence nearly broke me. A 16-year-old should not have to learn that lesson. But many adults never learn it at all. We did not give Leela a $28,000 Sweet 16. Instead, we gave her what she had originally asked for, a small dinner, her favorite Italian restaurant, a chocolate cake, 6 friends, her father, her grandmother, and me. I bought her the vintage camera she had sent me months earlier. When she opened it, she pressed both hands to her mouth. Are you serious? Completely. She hugged me so hard my chair moved. After dinner we walked to the riverfront. The evening was cool, and the city lights reflected on the water. Leela spent an hour taking photographs. Mom laughing with Derek. Her friends jumping in front of a mural, the cake box balanced on a bench. Then she turned the camera toward me. Smile, Aunt Claire. I am smiling. No. You're doing your work, smile. What is my work, smile? The one where you look like you are about to deny a budget request. Everyone laughed. For the first time in months, the laughter did not hide anything, so I smiled for real. A week later, Leela gave me a printed copy of the photograph. In it, my hair was moving in the wind. My eyes looked tired. The river behind me was blurred with light. But I looked free. I framed it and placed it on my desk. My relationship with my mother changed after that. We stopped protecting each other with silence. We reviewed her accounts together every month. She learned how to use two-factor authentication. She also began seeing a therapist because betrayal by your own child leaves a wound no refund can repair. Derek and Leela slowly rebuilt their relationship. There were awkward dinners and angry questions. There were missed years that could not be returned. But there was honesty. And honesty, unlike money, grows when you keep giving it. As for Vanessa, she wrote me letters from prison. The first few were full of explanations. She blamed stress. She blamed Derek. She blamed our childhood. She blamed the pressure to look successful. I did not answer. Then one letter arrived without excuses. I kept thinking love meant people would keep paying the price for my choices. She wrote, when they stopped, I said they had betrayed me. I understand now that I betrayed them first. I read that sentence 3 times. Then I wrote back, not to forgive everything. Not to promise a perfect reunion. I wrote because boundaries and cruelty are not the same thing. I told her I hoped she continued counseling. I told her mom was safe. I told her Leela was doing well. And I told her the truth. Trust would have to be rebuilt slowly, through actions. After she completed her sentence, she wrote back 2 weeks later. I understand. Maybe she did. Maybe she did not. But for once, understanding was no longer my responsibility. People sometimes ask whether I regret making that call to the bank. They ask because Vanessa was my sister. Because prison changed her life. Because Leela lost the version of her family she thought she had. My answer is always the same. I did not destroy my sister's life with one phone call. I stopped her from destroying everyone else's. The morning she demanded 700-200, Vanessa believed family meant no one was allowed to say no. She believed love was a blank check. She believed shame would keep us quiet. She was wrong. Family should help you stand when you fall. It should not be forced to lie beneath you so you never touch the ground. And the most important transfer I made that day was not money. It was the truth from one person to another, until there was nowhere left for her lie to hide.